They say curiosity killed the cat. But what if it doomed the entire human race? One woman, one sealed jar, and one reckless choice unleashed every misery mankind has ever known. This isn't just a myth. It's the shocking tale of Pandora, the first woman handcrafted by the gods, not as a blessing, but as their ultimate weapon. Among all those epic tales of heroes, monsters, and divine squabbles, the story of Pandora truly stands out. It's more than just a creation myth. It's a profound, sometimes unsettling, lesson about the irresistible allure of curiosity, the heavy burden of consequence, and the enduring struggles that define our very humanity. Our journey begins long before Pandora herself, with a bold act of defiance by the Titan Prometheus. He dared to challenge the almighty gods, snatching the sacred fire from their grasp and gifting it to us, humankind. That single, audacious act sparked an eternal conflict, a cosmic chess match between the divine and the mortal, setting the stage for everything that was to come. As we navigate the twists and turns of this ancient narrative, we're going to explore Pandora's mysterious origins, the incredible and ultimately perilous gifts that shaped her, the ominous jar she was entrusted with, and the ripple effect of her actions that still echoes through our world today. So, join me as we peel back the layers of this fascinating story, a myth that has captivated hearts and minds, sparking countless debates and inspiring endless interpretations for centuries. It's a tale that makes you think, makes you wonder, and perhaps makes you look a little differently at that persistent little voice inside your own head. To truly grasp the tragedy and significance of Pandora, we first need to rewind the clock, way back to the world before her creation. Picture this, a primal, untamed landscape, where early humans lived in a state of perpetual darkness and ignorance. They shivered through endless nights, their lives devoid of the warmth, the light, and the transformative power of fire. The gods, perched atop the majestic Mount Olympus, looked down upon this scene, jealously guarding their divine gifts, particularly that flickering, precious flame. They believed these powers were theirs alone, not to be shared with mere mortals. But among these celestial beings was Prometheus, a titan who, unlike many of his brethren, possessed an extraordinary wisdom and a deep, empathetic compassion for humanity. He watched our ancestors struggle, saw their potential, and felt a profound pity for their plight. He couldn't stand by while they suffered in the cold and dark. So, in a monumental act of rebellion, a move that would forever alter the course of human history, Prometheus took it upon himself to defy the gods. He stole fire from Olympus, a daring heist, and brought its precious embers down to Earth, igniting the spark of civilization within humanity. Can you imagine the sheer audacity? The courage? Now, an act of such cosmic disobedience, especially against the king of the gods, Zeus, was never going to go unpunished. When Zeus, the thunderous patriarch of Olympus, discovered this betrayal, he wasn't just angry. He was absolutely incandescent with rage. This wasn't merely about punishing Prometheus. That would be too simple. Zeus, ever the strategist, saw an opportunity for a far grander, more insidious form of retribution. He decided to target humanity as a whole, to teach them a brutal, unforgettable lesson about the dangers of defiance, the perils of accepting gifts they hadn't earned, and the sheer audacity of thinking they could challenge divine authority. He wanted to ensure that humanity would forever regret Prometheus's gift. So, with a mind churning with vengeful schemes, Zeus summoned Hephaestus, the divine blacksmith, the god of craftsmanship and fire itself, a master artisan beyond compare. His command was clear, yet chilling. Create a unique being, unlike any other, one who would be both an irresistible gift and a devastating curse to humankind. This creation would be the ultimate instrument of Zeus's wrath, a living paradox designed to unleash suffering while appearing utterly benevolent. It was a cruel irony, wasn't it? To punish humanity for receiving a gift of fire, Zeus would bestow upon them another, far more dangerous gift. And so, Hephaestus, with his divine skill, set to work. He meticulously shaped Pandora from the very earth and clay beneath his hands, breathing life and form into her. But she wouldn't be just any woman. She would be a masterpiece, imbued with extraordinary qualities, each one a divine endowment from the Olympian pantheon. Think of it as a celestial assembly line, each god and goddess contributing a piece of their essence to this singular creation. Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, graced Pandora with an ethereal allure, a captivating charm that no mortal man could resist. She was given a face that could launch 1,000 ships, a presence that would instantly disarm and enchant. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, war, and craft, bestowed upon her not only a sharp intellect, but also an innate skill in weaving and other domestic arts, making her appear not just beautiful, but also accomplished and capable. And then there was Hermes, the messenger of the gods, known for his quick wit and cunning. He gifted Pandora with a persuasive tongue, a charming demeanor, and a subtle, almost imperceptible sense of trickery and insatiable curiosity. Each of these gifts was chosen with meticulous, almost sinister care. They weren't just random blessings. They were carefully calculated attributes designed to craft a woman who would be irresistibly enchanting. Yes, but also dangerously curious, a perfect, unwitting weapon in Zeus's grand design. Her very name, Pandora, is a testament to this divine endowment. It translates from the Greek as all-gifted or all-giving, a fitting, if somewhat ironic, title for someone who would ultimately carry the immense weight of divine retribution, a living embodiment of the gods' complex and often contradictory intentions. She was a vessel of both beauty and potential catastrophe. Once this exquisite, divinely crafted woman was complete, Zeus, with a sly smile, presented her to Prometheus, the well-meaning but often thoughtless brother of Prometheus. Now, Prometheus, being the wise one, had explicitly warned his brother to be incredibly wary of any gifts from Zeus, knowing full well the king of the gods harbored a deep grudge. He understood Zeus's cunning and the dangers hidden beneath seemingly benevolent gestures. But Prometheus, whose name literally means hindsight or afterthought, was prone to acting first and thinking later. He was, to put it mildly, not as discerning as his brother. And when he laid eyes on Pandora, with her radiant beauty, her captivating charm, and her seemingly perfect grace, all of Prometheus's warnings simply melted away. Prometheus was utterly smitten, captivated beyond reason. He accepted her as his bride, completely unaware that this breathtaking woman, this seemingly perfect companion, was not just a symbol of peace or a loving partner. No, Pandora was a meticulously crafted tool in Zeus's grand, vengeful scheme. The gods had fashioned her not merely as a lovely companion to alleviate humanity's loneliness, but as an unwitting agent of chaos, destined, by her very nature, to unleash untold suffering upon the world. It was a cruel, brilliant stroke of psychological warfare, using humanity's own desire for connection against them. Soon after their union, as a final, seemingly benevolent gesture, Zeus bestowed upon Pandora another gift, a mysterious container. Now, this is where a common misconception often creeps in. You see, when we talk about Pandora's box, we're actually using a phrase that came about much, much later. The original Greek myth, as recorded by the ancient poet Hesiod in his 7th century BCE Works and Days and Theogony, referred to a pithos, a very large storage jar, often used for wine, oil, or grain. Think of it as a massive, earthenware urn, much larger and more common in ancient Greek households than a small, ornate box. So, it was a jar, not a box, that held the world's fate. The mistranslation happened much later in the 16th century, when the Dutch humanist Erasmus of Rotterdam translated Hesiod's account into Latin, mistakenly rendering pithos as pixis, which means box. And just like that, a linguistic slip became an enduring idiom, shaping our understanding of the myth for centuries. But back to the jar itself. Zeus, with a chillingly stern demeanor, handed it to Pandora, issuing an unequivocal, absolute warning. Never, under any circumstances, are you to open this jar. Can you imagine the weight of that command? The sheer, irresistible pull of something forbidden? This pithos, innocent looking on the outside, was no ordinary storage vessel. It was a Pandora's box in the modern sense, containing all the evils, all the miseries, and all the afflictions that could possibly plague humanity. We're talking sickness, despair, famine, toil, old age, death, envy, hatred, war, jealousy, anger, and 1,000 other nameless sorrows, all coiled up, waiting patiently, silently, for the moment they would be unleashed upon an unsuspecting world. Zeus believed that by giving Pandora this tantalizing forbidden jar, he would ensure that humanity, having dared to accept Prometheus's fire, would now face the full, devastating consequences of their defiance and of their own inherent flaws. Yet, as we all know, curiosity isn't just a fleeting thought. It's a powerful primal force. It gnaws at us, whispers in our ears, and pushes us to explore the unknown. Pandora, despite the thunderous warning from Zeus, felt an irresistible, almost magnetic pull towards that jar. Day after day, it sat there, silent, enigmatic, a constant presence in her new home. What could possibly be inside? What secrets did it hold? The questions began to consume her thoughts, growing louder and more insistent with each passing moment. She tried to resist, she truly did, but the desire to know became an obsession. This tension, this agonizing internal battle between obedience and the burning, insatiable urge to discover, creates a pivotal, deeply human moment in the myth. It's a struggle we can all relate to, isn't it? That feeling of wanting to peek behind the curtain, to lift the lid, even when we know we shouldn't, is the very essence of human nature, a double-edged sword that drives both discovery and disaster. And so, the inevitable arrived. One fateful day, the relentless pressure of Pandora's curiosity simply overwhelmed her caution, shattering her resolve. The warnings, the fear, the logical arguments, they all faded into the background, eclipsed by the burning need to satisfy that one nagging question. Asterisk, what's inside? Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat of anticipation and trepidation. She approached the ominous jar, her hands trembling, not just from nerves, but from the sheer weight of the moment, the unspoken knowledge that this act was monumental. With a deep, shaky breath, she reached out. Her fingers, delicate yet resolute, closed around the lid. There was no turning back now. Slowly, hesitantly at first, then with a surge of desperate resolve, she lifted it. And in that very instant, the world changed forever. A terrifying, viscous torrent of darkness, a malevolent cloud of suffering, burst forth from the confines of the pithos. It wasn't just a whisper. It was a roaring, chaotic explosion. Sickness, pain, sorrow, despair, famine, envy, old age, and death itself, all the evils that had been carefully imprisoned, waiting for their release, swirled out, a horrifying, palpable miasma. They didn't just trickle. They poured into the world, spreading like a virulent wildfire, infecting every corner of humanity, seeping into the very fabric of existence. The consequences of her single, curious action were immediate, devastating, and utterly irreversible. The innocent world, the one that Prometheus had tried to uplift, was now irrevocably tainted. Horrified beyond measure by the monstrous chaos she had unleashed, Pandora gasped, her eyes wide with terror and a dawning, crushing regret. She quickly, desperately, slammed the lid shut, a futile gesture against the tidal wave of misery she had just set free. But the damage was done. The evils had already escaped, a dark, insidious poison beginning to seep into the hearts and minds of men and women across the globe. As she stood there, trembling, tears stinging her eyes, she was overwhelmed by the crushing weight of the burden she had unleashed, the enormity of her mistake. The world was now a place of suffering, and it was all because of her. Yet, amidst the swirling chaos, the despair, and the terrifying realization of what she had done, a small, fragile, almost imperceptible flicker remained. Deep within the jar, tucked away beneath the last vestiges of the escaping evils, one final precious thing had been trapped. It was not another affliction, not another sorrow, but something entirely different, something almost miraculous: hope. It lay there, a tiny luminous beacon in the overwhelming darkness, a quiet testament to the enduring spirit, a silent promise waiting to be discovered. Hope. Unlike the multitude of evils that had swarmed out into the world, hope was a precious, almost ethereal thing. It remained, a solitary survivor within the now closed jar, a delicate beacon of light in a world suddenly plunged into unprecedented despair. Why did it stay? Some interpretations suggest that Zeus, in a rare moment of foresight, or perhaps even a twisted form of mercy, intended for hope to remain. Others believe it was simply too slow, too fragile, to escape alongside the virulent rush of suffering. Regardless of the reason, its presence offered humanity something vital to cling to, a lifeline in a sea of newly discovered hardships. It became an enduring symbol of resilience, a testament to the indomitable human spirit that, even in the darkest, most trying times, always finds a way to look forward, to believe in a better tomorrow. It's a reminder that even when everything seems lost, there is always a possibility for redemption, for renewal, for a fresh start. The myth of Pandora, therefore, serves as a powerful, multi-layered allegory, peeling back the complexities of human nature itself. It brilliantly highlights the inherent duality of curiosity, how this very trait, this insatiable drive to explore and understand, can lead to incredible discovery, innovation, and progress, pushing the boundaries of our knowledge and capabilities. Yet, it also carries the profound risk of unforeseen, catastrophic consequences, unleashing forces we can neither control nor fully comprehend. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? The very thing that makes us advance can also be our undoing. This ancient tale has left an indelible mark on our language and culture. The act of opening Pandora's box has transcended its mythical origins to become a common, universally understood idiom. It's a phrase we use to describe any action, however seemingly innocuous, that inadvertently initiates a cascade of unexpected and often insurmountable problems, complications, or misfortunes. Think about it. A poorly worded email that sparks a company-wide crisis, a seemingly minor political decision that escalates into international tension, or even a casual remark that unravels a carefully constructed piece. Each of these could be described as opening Pandora's box. The phrase is a constant reminder of the delicate balance between cause and effect, and the often unpredictable ripple effects of our choices. Beyond the idiom, the symbolism within the myth runs deep. The jar itself, or pithos, represents humanity's inherent curiosity and the potential for both good and ill contained within the unknown. The evils that escape are, quite literally, the hardships and suffering that are an undeniable part of the human condition. And then there's hope, that solitary, radiant element left behind, symbolizing our innate capacity for resilience, optimism, and the ability to find light even when surrounded by overwhelming darkness. It's a story that resonates because it speaks to universal human experiences, temptation, regret, and the enduring power of believing in something better. As we reflect on the story of Pandora, its implications extend far beyond the ancient world, compelling us to consider its enduring relevance in our lives today. What profound lessons does this myth truly impart about the nature of curiosity? Is it a dangerous flaw, an inherent weakness that leads us astray, or is it a vital catalyst for growth and understanding? What insights can we glean from the intricate interplay of gifts and curses, of divine intention and human fallibility? This narrative compels us to engage in critical self-reflection, urging us to think deeply about our own actions, the decisions we make, and the potential, often far-reaching repercussions they might carry. It's a mirror held up to our own tendencies, our own desires to know, to explore, to push boundaries. Now, Pandora herself is often, and perhaps unfairly, cast as the villain in this narrative, the one solely responsible for humanity's woes. But is that truly a fair assessment? When we look closer, we can also see her as a tragic victim, a pawn in a much larger, cosmic game orchestrated by the gods. She was, after all, specifically created and meticulously manipulated by Zeus, an instrument of his vengeful will. She was designed to be curious, specifically engineered with that fatal flaw. Can we truly blame a being for acting according to her very nature, a nature that was divinely imposed upon her? This perspective challenges us to grapple with profound questions of the nature of blame and responsibility. If a being is created with a specific flaw, and then placed in a situation designed to exploit that flaw, where does the true accountability lie? Are we to hold Pandora entirely accountable for her curiosity, for succumbing to a temptation that was, in a sense, hardwired into her very being? Or should our gaze turn towards the divine forces, the powerful, manipulative Olympians who deliberately set her on this path, constructing the entire elaborate scenario as a cruel punishment? It's a complex ethical dilemma, isn't it? One that forces us to question the very concept of free will versus predestination. Furthermore, we can delve into the motivations of the gods themselves. Was Zeus's act purely malicious, a simple desire for revenge? Or was there a deeper, perhaps even twisted pedagogical intent? Did he genuinely believe that humanity needed to learn a harsh lesson about humility, about the dangers of overreaching, about appreciating the good by experiencing the bad? Perhaps the evils were not just punishment, but also a necessary crucible through which humanity would forge its resilience, its capacity for empathy, and its understanding of true value. And what about hope? Why did it remain? Was it a deliberate act of divine mercy, a small concession from a wrathful God? Or was it, as some scholars suggest, a cruel twist, ensuring that humanity would forever endure its suffering, sustained just enough by hope to never truly succumb, but never truly escape either? These are the kinds of questions that make this myth so endlessly fascinating and relevant. The story also touches on the concept of divine justice, or perhaps divine injustice. Prometheus was punished for helping humanity, and humanity was punished for benefiting from that help. There's a cycle of retribution that highlights the often arbitrary and cruel nature of the Olympian gods. They were powerful, yes, but also deeply flawed, driven by ego, jealousy, and a thirst for control. In this light, Pandora becomes less a villain and more a symbol of humanity, its precarious position in a universe governed by unpredictable and often capricious divine powers. As our journey through the intricate, thought-provoking myth of Pandora's box draws to a close, we're left not with simple answers, but with a trove of profound questions. Questions about the very essence of humanity, the weight of our choices, and the enduring, often enigmatic power of hope. This isn't just an ancient tale. It's a timeless narrative that continues to resonate because it speaks to universal truths. It serves not only as a cautionary tale about the unpredictable dangers of unchecked curiosity, but also, crucially, as a powerful affirmation of the astonishing resilience of the human spirit. The evils unleashed by Pandora may have irrevocably changed the world forever, introducing suffering and hardship into our existence. But hope, the precious, fragile ember, remains a vital, guiding force. It's the light that can lead us through even the darkest, most despairing of times, a constant reminder that even after the storm, the sun will rise again. So, Now that we've explored every facet of this incredible story, what do you think? Is Pandora truly a villain solely responsible for all the world's woes? Or is she, as some might argue, simply a victim manipulated by the machinations of powerful, vengeful gods? A pawn in a game far beyond her control, a prisoner of her own divinely implanted curiosity. And how do you interpret the profound symbolism of hope remaining in the jar? What does that mean for us, here and now, in our own lives? I'd love to hear your thoughts, your theories, your unique perspectives on this enduring myth. Drop them in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the captivating world of Greek mythology, don't forget to hit that like button, share this with fellow mythology enthusiasts, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from the ancient world that continue to shape our understanding of ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey through the myth of Pandora's box. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and always remember, sometimes the greatest gifts, and indeed the greatest lessons, come wrapped in the most unexpected and often uncertain of packages.